All right, let's talk about Golden Boy, Trump's son-in-law. Ooh, disturbing image, by the way, of him. Nice pick, Pat. And advisor Jared Kushner, who has lost access to top secret intelligence. I've reported to you time and again that Jared Kushner has been working with an interim top secret security clearance, along with, by the way, dozens of other White House staffers. I've told you that Jared Kushner has submitted multiple incorrect and incomplete disclosure forms required in the process meant to get him a security clearance. I have been adamant that Jared Kushner should not have access to any top secret information, nor should he even have a role in Donald Trump's White House, quite frankly, but that's another story. And this is starting to come to a head because Jared Kushner has now had his security clearance downgraded, as well as a number of other White House aides who have been, again, working with interim top secret level security clearances. But Jared Kushner is still going to have access. He has not had his clearance revoked. He has had it downgraded from top secret to secret. Recall that once again, much of this is self-inflicted, right? The reason we even found out that all of these interim clearances were being used is that serial accused spouse abuser Rob Porter had his scandal, and we learned that he had been working for months after it was made clear that he'd have trouble getting a security clearance, to put it lightly. And then we learned about the rest of it, including dozens of people, as well as Jared Kushner, who were working with these temporary interim security clearances. Now, Trump could single-handedly and unilaterally grant Jared Kushner a permanent top secret clearance. If the president does it, then it will be made so. For now, at least, Trump is saying he's going to leave that up to Chief of Staff John Kelly, who really has no credibility any longer because of that Rob Porter scandal, and himself should resign, but no indication, at least at this point, that John Kelly is going to be going bye-bye. So, of course, since many of these documents at the secret and top secret levels are secret, we don't actually know exactly what Kushner will no longer be able to see. But what we do know, because it's been widely reported, is that while Donald Trump is increasingly not reading the PDB, the Presidential Daily Briefing, a sort of summary of the most relevant and pressing intelligence from the prior 24 hours, Jared Kushner was reading the PDB, and he's no longer going to be able to. Bradley Moss, who's a lawyer that specializes in national security law and clearances of this kind, said, quote, he cannot see the PDB, not a chance. That's interesting. Now, the craziest thing about all of this is that Jared Kushner's lawyer seems to be saying, you don't have to worry that Kushner isn't going to be able to do his job anymore as advisor, because the downgrading of his top secret security clearance to secret is not going to impact his ability to do his job at all. Does anybody realize how this is insane? If, according to Kushner's own lawyer, losing the top secret security clearance won't impact his work at all, why did he have a top secret clearance in the first place? In other words, as a basic tenet of national security and compartmentalization of information, you don't clear someone, especially on an interim basis, higher than is necessary for them to do their job. If we believe Kushner's lawyer that his job is completely unaffected by the downgrade, that only raises more questions about why the kid even was given a top secret clearance to begin with.
Do you think that he'll get that top secret security clearance back? I suspect that he won't.
Well,
and the reason why is because I think there's a good chance that Jared Kushner will get indicted by the Mueller probe.
I think so too.
Maybe it's not tomorrow or next week or next month, but if you not only gave him a top secret security clearance, but after taking it away, give it back to him, I think that's not good for the Trump administration.
Well, you might be asking me two different questions, right? Question one is, do I think that he would eventually be granted one through the normal process? The answer is absolutely not. It's abundantly clear after he lied or conveniently left out dozens and dozens and dozens of meetings with foreign people from his disclosure forms. I think there's no chance that Jared Kushner actually gets approved for a permanent top secret security clearance, nor should he. The next question is, will someone just say we're going to give him one anyway, whether it's John Kelly or Donald Trump? I'm also leaning towards no. And certainly if Kushner gets indicted, then absolutely not. And I'm guessing that if that were the case, he would step back from his role in the administration, which I think he might be going in the direction of anyway. It's the dumb sort of leading and representing the dumb here. And I was reading online comments about this. And to many people, it almost seems, and I'm talking about people on the left here, they seem to be sort of relishing in how things are going poorly for Jared Kushner. Like they're cheerleading that his security clearance has been downgraded because they feel it's a sort of insult to Jared Kushner. I think that's the wrong approach, right? This was a national security risk. This was sloppy handling of top secret information. We should be concerned about this as a national security issue rather than feeling like we won because something was taken away from Jared Kushner. Listen, I understand the pleasure that people might experience at reading these headlines, but this is fundamentally a national security thing. And in the end, more than likely, Kelly, I believe, is not going to give Kushner the clearance because Kelly doesn't want to be further wrapped up in this type of nonsense with Trump. And I think from what we're reading, that the Kelly-Trump sort of confrontation may well come to a head. We're reading that the Trump family is increasingly very much at odds with John Kelly. I think it's more likely that Kelly leaves than that he gives Jared Kushner his clearance.
I think so, too, especially because Kelly runs a very tight ship. And it seems as though Jared and Ivanka have been able to circumvent the normal ranks of the White House and can obviously speak directly to the president, whereas other officials can't.
I don't disagree with you that in some general sense, Kelly does run a tighter ship, at least, than was previously run by Reince Priebus. Although the fact that Kelly knew Porter had multiple wife-beating accusations against him and allowed him to continue working for months and months on these interim clearances, that really soured my perception of Kelly as the supposedly elegant guy that Donald Trump liked to refer to him as. So anyway, not good news for Jared Kushner. Today's program is brought to you in part by Blinkist. So you read books, I read books, and if you're at all like me, you probably don't have time in your schedule to read all the books that you want to read. There is an entire world of nonfiction books out there that could really feed your knowledge and intellect, but the sad truth is that you're only able to read a tiny fraction of those books. But what you could still do is absorb the most essential knowledge from the books that you don't have time to read. And that's exactly where Blinkist comes in. It's an app that takes nonfiction books, pulls out the most important points and insights from the books, and it puts them in a condensed sort of package form, which you can either read or listen to in about 15 minutes on your mobile device or tablet. And over 4 million people are already using Blinkist. It made the iTunes Best Apps of 2017 list. And you can choose from a selection that is huge, thousands of books, all of which you'll have access to as a Blinkist subscriber. And you can switch between text and audio both online and offline, get personalized recommendations based on the books you've already chosen. Blinkist is free to try, and membership after that is only a few bucks a month, but you can get a 20% discount if you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. And if you're watching on YouTube, we are linking to Blinkist and our link in the video description. One more time, that is Blinkist.com/PAKMAN.